Welcome to this exciting new video. I absolutely couldn't contain my excitement to share about Strike V5 in ALULA. Let's explore together its performance and how it behaved. Apart from the fact that aesthetically it is beautiful, well, the Strike 5.5 in ALULA is nothing more than the most advanced version of the now famous Sail Strike F1. It's not just a small reimagining. The Strike in 2025 has been completely redesigned. This is a move I really like from F1 because he likes to take risks. He doesn't just make small adjustments, but every year he really tries to improve his sails. Sometimes they succeed, and they come out with phenomenal sails like this. Sometimes a little less, as we have seen in the past, but they really always try to do something innovative, something new. Let's talk about materials. The canopy has remained in the classic Technoforce de Dieu, which is a very resistant material, and at the same time very light, which is one of the main features that distinguishes the Strike 5.5. The squid. We find the Lula in leading edge, but unlike other houses, the Lula here we find only in the central band of our leading edge from tip to tip. We then obviously, as we have already seen on the CVC in the boom part, so definitely the rigidity is not missing in the boom, but it is not missing in the leading edge either, even if we only have a small part of the ALULA. Why this choice by F1? Why did they adopt a panel strike? In a single solution that goes from tip to tip called sweep control panel. This is a panel that allows you to have the same rigidity as the sails with the whole structure in ALULA, but decreasing the costs. So we have the same performance substantially of a sail completely in ALULA with only this small part of ALULA in the lady range. This panel is essentially nothing more than a structural reinforcement that goes from side to side and therefore must necessarily have a contribution to the rigidity of the sail. Let's get to the heart of the sail and talk a little about its shape. Surely this is a sail that gives its best in upwind. In the freestyle, in the lightness, in the feeling that F1 knows how to create in the maneuvers and has an excellent speed, which is something that perhaps was missing before AF1 is now not a ribbed wing, but you can push a little more than the other F1 wings. The concept of F1 remains that of go forward and therefore of a push forward. This allows us to lift up on the foil first, so everything remained the same in terms of feeling, which had already improved a lot from V3 to V4. In V4, we had regained that feeling that we had lost a little bit in V3. Here, it has been further improved, especially by completely redesigning the panels that are no longer that radial shape of the past, but are arranged in this shape that we see. They are able to give the best, both in the constant wind, but also in the gusty wind, where the oversail is just around the corner. This wing responds very well to oversail because it deforms in a controlled way. It does not become physical. It is a sail that supports oversail very well. This sweep control panel really allows us to make the sail rigid, and this helps us a bit in the start. Let's remember that it is not an extremely overpowered sail. That is, it is not a sail that is enough, 1.5, to have the power of EU 530. It is a regular sail, so it has the right power. The strut has been completely revised because precisely being in ALULA, it has been possible to reduce the blader and have arranged the handles so that you can use the boom, to be able to use not the boom, but to be able to use one or bar 2 measures of boom for all sizes of the sail, while instead in the V4 we had to buy a boom almost for each square meter of the sail. And it was really inconvenient as you mount the boom and handles in. In F1 it's very simple. Finally we don't have any screws. We don't have to take anything to the beach that we then lose. No key, but with this very intuitive system, the boom is still stable, the handle is still stable, quick to take off and put on, a great solution. What's new compared to 2024? The new seams of the panels allow to have a controlled deformation, but above all, a little deformation over time of our canopy. So the real one should be more durable and more performing over time. The canopy is slightly more taut than the Strike V4. This increases performance above all and stability, especially at high speeds. The weight is obviously reduced compared to the 2024 Strike, obviously thanks to the use of the ALULA. We weighed her, and the weights are the same as the parent company declares, basically about 2 kilos and 6 with the leash that become about 2 kilos, just under 2.5 kilos for the 530 measure. RF1 tried to improve the headlight a lot, so they also focused on the headlight, but on the upwind speed, which is even more interesting. A substantial difference compared to 2024 is the size of the tips. The tips are no longer as thin as they used to be. But they're fatter, bigger. We also have more sections in our leaden edge, especially near the tips where we have a rounder corner that helps us with touchdowns. Volunteers of the sail in the water, the sail rises right up and does not get stuck in the water, the back, which was once 1-1, very rigid panel, wide, which gave stability to the sail and guaranteed an excellent tensioning over time. In the new Strike 2025, we find it narrower and longer. It has absolutely no weight in maneuvering. When there is light wind, the sail still remains nice and high. We talked a little about the advantages compared to 2024. There are obviously some disadvantages. The ALULA costs a little more, and therefore we have both the normal Strike. The Strike in ALULA obviously has a slightly different price for a matter of raw material, but it is a lower price than sails totally in ALULA. Another disadvantage is that obviously being this sail slightly stiffer can be a bit more technical maybe for beginners, and obviously the performance is nothing without control. So this sail is very controllable, it is pleasant to use, it is not physical at all, but obviously it is a sail that must be used by a user. Intermediate in order to take advantage of the features it gives us. The measurements are what you see at the moment, and there is the possibility to buy it with vanilla or with BOMA. I tried it with the boom. If I have to be honest, the handles on the F1 are a bit heavy. They weigh about 600 grams versus less than 500 grams on the boom. So overall, on big sails, the boom could make a difference even at level EL weight. Here's one thing that could definitely improve F1 is the backpack. Because this backpack is still that of the first F1, designed for soft handles or for hard handles, but not for the boom. My considerations in the water, I had a great time with this sail. I have to be honest that the thing that excited me most of all is the stability that you have in maneuvering. If in the middle of the maneuver you decide not to close it and return to your board, it returns to the initial position. closing the maneuvers becomes really fun. It also allows you to position the sail in those positions, a little more difficult when maybe we want clashes. This always gives us a guarantee of non-physicality. It is a sail that is not explosive at the start, but does its duty, covers the right wind range for its size. It is a sail that supports oversail very well. As I have already told you, I myself went out with many knots for my weight and for the sail. I've been in the water for over an hour without any problems. Basically, I think it's a simple sail, but in order to make the most of the features, it is oriented towards a more intermediate user. Would I buy it? Yes, I would buy it both for a question of quality-price ratio and for a question of feeling. Guys, because it really allows us to do what we want when we're at sea. If you are liking this video and find it useful, leave me a comment, put a like, subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the channel. Why subscribe to the channel? Because I make videos dedicated to subscribers that are onboard tutorials. Kind of like the example I leave you right now, then today.
Let's go see the jibe race.
Which is a very important maneuver, both in strong wind and light wind. So maybe at first try doing this maneuver in moderate wind. Now I'm in a flurry trying to
Look at
a point where I can try to show you the way. Okay, then we're up.
little.
Let's start the weave, wait to turn the sail until we're almost aft. Okay, this is very important.
We slide. We have the possibility of dividing the journey into 3 key segments. The entrance phase, the significant middle portion, where we plan to adjust the sail to accommodate newcomers, and finally the exit phase. Walls and
The final part, that is
the weirdo exit. We plan to continue exploring F1 material thoroughly. Additionally, you have the opportunity to access this highly sought-after sail through the knowledgeable team at Cao. I'll provide further details above, including contact information where you can access all the latest F1 2025 materials.
Come and visit us at the Wind Festival. Surely the guys will show you the new 2025 material, and why not? Even try it. I remind you that the Wind Festival is the 11, 12, 13 April in Andorra. Do not miss. I will be there, and we could also exchange a chat. See you in the water. I spoil you already that the next test will be the brand new foil F1 Momentum is a Sabre.
The outcome will become clear later on. Stuart, I'll see you out there in the open sea.